Welcome to Married to His Will. I'm Suzette Williams, your host, a licensed professional counselor in Georgia and nationally certified. Whether this is your first time or you've been with me for a while, I'm truly grateful you're here. This podcast is a space for inspiration, healing, and truth, where faith meets real life. I love weaving in clinical insights along with personal stories to encourage and uplift you on your journey with God. If you're new, be sure to check out Season 1, Episode 1, where I share my testimony. It's a powerful reminder that God doesn't just want to save you from hell, He wants to see you thrive in Him. Since walking through my divorce, I've discovered a deeper understanding of who I am and who I'm becoming in Christ. And yes, to my future husband, if you're listening, may you find me right where God has positioned me, in His presence. I'm so excited for what's ahead, and I'm thankful for every listener who's joined me on this journey, and for those who are just getting started. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if this blesses you, and check out the description for updates or extra info. Let's dive into today's episode. I pray it blesses you. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Married to His Will. I'm so excited that you've taken the time to listen or watch this episode today. I'm excited because I have a guest coming into the studio, and her name is Melissa Cranon. She has been a part of Deeper Church, where I attend, for several months now, but it feels like she's been there for years. And I guess that's how the people of Deeper Church get so close very quickly. And so I'm happy that she's here because she has been through a broken marriage, had divorce, and walked through the journey of singleness. And now she has a wonderful husband that she shares her life with. And so you deserve to hear her testimony and how she overcame. She's also an accountant, someone who can help you rebuild your financial life. And I thought it was just very fitting to have her here, as I'm a single mom who has struggled and still facing some very difficult times as in the area of finances as I'm rebuilding my life. And so I'm so excited that she's here to join with us today. So please help me welcome Melissa Cranon. Woo! Welcome, Melissa.
Thank
I'm so
you.
happy to have you here.
Happy to be with you.
So I'm so happy. Before we get started and dive into your story, I want to take a moment to pray. Father, I thank you so much for Melissa. Thank you for her agreeing to be here with us today to share her story. I pray that this story will reach the hearts of those who need to hear it. I pray, God, that you will let this episode be a blessing, not only to me or her, but to the viewers and the listeners today. Let your name be praised and yet your name be glorified through this discussion. We thank you for this moment in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, Melissa. So you're here. Can you introduce yourself to the folks who are watching? Let us know, who is Melissa?
Well, I am, first of all, a new implant to the South, to Georgia. My
Oh,
husband, my 17-year-old, moved out just a few months ago, and that's when I met you and the church. So we're so happy to be here in Georgia, first and foremost. But I'm from
yeah,
California. I was
yeah.
raised in California, although I was born in the Bronx. So, my family moved
Nice.
to California. I spent most of my life in California, a good
Wow.
45 years in California.
Wow. Sunny
So,
California. Wow.
yes, I guess I can claim it, right?
Yeah,
But
amazing.
I am a mother of 3 plus 4 bonus, and they're all
Hmm.
except for one baby. My bonus baby is 11. And
Okay.
I am a wife for the second time now to
Yeah.
my wonderful friend Chris, and we've been married 6.5 wonderful years. And I thank
Yeah.
God for that. Happy when I say that, because my first
That is
marriage
so
wasn't that great.
awesome.
But professionally, I'm an accountant, a private accountant. I've been an
Okay.
accountant for 32 years or so.
That's a long
So
time.
it is,
So
and
you
it's
about
what
when
I
you
want.
huh?
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I would say so you definitely know what you're talking about when it comes to money and the numbers.
I like to think so. I don't know everything, but I do have some experience. I am good at what I do for companies, for corporations. Right now, for the last couple of years, I've been in a consultant working for a CFO consulting firm. So I step in when companies lost their CFO or they're in between transition and they just need someone to bridge the gap. So that's what I do
Yeah.
currently. But, and I also do small business bookkeeping, accounting for just small companies really can't afford their own accountant. A few churches, I have a few churches. I'll close their books monthly, things like that. And that's what I
Yeah.
just like to do to give back. I cut my rate really low just to help. That's my way of giving back with what I know how to do professionally. So
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I'm like, as you're talking, I'm like, man, Lord, I need this woman in my life. It's a very challenging area for me. It's funny because when I started college in my bachelor, the undergraduate years, my first choice was accounting, and I didn't
okay,
continue. Yeah, for some reason I was like, okay, this is quite boring. It's not wasn't what I was really interested in. I love the fact that I could balance things and understand numbers quickly, but at some points I'm like, yeah, this is not for me. So kudos to you,
thank
for
you.
having done this for 30 odd years. That's beautiful. So, I want to dive in because it's so you come with so much today, and that I know will help those who are my viewers, who are my listeners. And so can you just walk us through your story, your divorce, your single season, and how God prepared your heart for remarriage. I'm sure it's a lot that you have to share, but in your own words, just give us a little bit of your testimony going through divorce, singleness, and now remarriage.
Sure, sure. I like to think I was born to be married. I always thought about being a wife. So much so that I got engaged when I was, I want to say 18, 19,
Okay.
to a woman. And he ended up cheating on me and we didn't get married. But I had
Wow.
already I was in California and he was in the state of Washington. I had already transferred everything, my school and everything in anticipation because we had a wedding date. It was like 6 weeks till wedding when it ended up
Wow.
getting, cut off. But I had already, changed my life to be up there. So I went in by
Wow.
myself. I went up there. I found my own apartment. This is before the internet. So I found an apartment in the ads paper and I made the move by myself because I was always really self-motivated, So I'm like,
Okay.
I can do that. And I went up
Yeah.
there and I started my life I was probably at this time 20 years old or so and or close to 21. But I was up there by myself and I ended up
Yeah.
meeting another. And I'm calling him gentleman is very nice, but that's what I'm gonna call him. And
What's
I
to you
I
then?
got I got caught up in all the right words, and he was a bit of a bad boy and all that kind of stuff. But it was wrong to begin with. But I needed companionship. I felt, you know, it was part of that
Yeah.
validation. And I was already
Yeah.
a person, even though I was really smart and good with school and, top of my class, all those things, I didn't
Yeah.
feel validated as a woman.
Mm.
And so I felt like I
I mean,
needed that from Dan. So when he gave
yeah.
that to me, even with all the nonsense, all the red flags that I know were there, I was tunnel vision because I felt
Right.
validated as. And we ended up getting pregnant like just, right at the end, right after graduation. So thank God I graduated college, right?
Yeah.
And then married right away because I grew up Christian and we got to be married.
Gotta do it the
And
right way. Yes, you have to do it the right way. I get it. I get how we think then. Yes.
my family was against it, but again, I'm an adult. I can do what I want and he loves me and all that. It was absolutely wrong. And I knew it in my heart of hearts, but I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I wasn't a mom. So we got married and Suzette, it was pretty much bad from the beginning. I mean, I can go into detail, but he had a drug habit that
Yeah.
I really didn't know at first. He kept it hidden. He was called a functional drug addict, you know. He was able to
Okay.
all that, until he wasn't. I guess at some point it just takes you, right? But by that time I had one child and one on the way. And he spent probably the majority of our marriage either in jail or in a rehab, or we didn't spend a
Wow.
whole lot of time together. So I felt like I was being robbed of what marriage was. I wanted to argue about not putting the toothpaste cap on, leaving the toilet seat. No, my argument was you spent all the rent money on drugs, or you didn't come home at night, you know. So I felt robbed, you know, but finally I had to cut the cord. He left. Matter of fact, he left me. But that
Mhm.
was the thing that could happen to me. Didn't feel like it, but that was the best thing that could happen. And, you know, I soon started the divorce process after that. So,
Amazing. Just let's pause for a moment. That was a lot. I can't imagine going through a marriage where you're dealing with someone who has a serious addiction, then going to jail.
mhm,
That must have been a very difficult journey to walk through. Thinking that you would have a husband who you could argue about normal things. And I get that, I understand how that may feel because there are times I was wishing, can I have a normal conflict?
yes, normal
Right?
conflict,
A
right?
normal conflict, like how you put the toothpaste on it seems little, but those are little things that will come up when you're trying to manage lifestyle habits, right? That might be a little different. So you hope for the normal type. But when you
Mhm,
think about it, man, that had to be draining. Addiction is no joke. So he left,
mhm,
right? And maybe that was certainly a blessing, but you obviously had to walk through the pain of that.
yes.
Yeah. So
It,
when did you realize it was like the best thing for you that he left?
I felt a peace
Mm-hmm.
because there was no more of that up and down, police knocking at the door. Do we have rent money?
Yeah.
Protecting children because they were really small, 5 and 3 at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I felt a peace like, okay, at least I'm not in that yo-yo, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? But then I lost my validation as a woman
Well,
because even though he wasn't a good husband, I have one. You know what I mean?
the thing that you held on to, was no longer that dream you had, that desire to be a wife was taken from you. That
Exactly.
person was taken from you. Yeah.
But thank God for family because I have
Mm-hmm.
supportive family, close family members like aunts, you know, that I felt were aunts in my life that helped me watch the children. And I couldn't have done it without them. I
Yeah.
definitely support of my family. And I thank God all the time that I finished school because that's how I was able to support myself. Because had I not, I would have been maybe just as bad off, not being able to care for them or stuck on the
Yeah.
system or you know what I mean?
I
So
hear. I there are times, and I can say this candidly, I have support. I'm grateful for the support of my family, but I have a number of children. I have six of them. I already lived on my own when me and my ex-husband separated. At separation, I was by myself with the kids in the place that we rented, and I became the main custodian. Obviously, after the divorce, that was just the way things are, and I was happy to be based on all the issues I felt he had. Right when it came to managing stress, I didn't want him to be the one to mainly manage the kids because I already wanted to free them from that chaos. So the part that was difficult and sometimes still is, sometimes I do wish I had that period of time where I was living with somebody who I could do the things I need to do to rebuild myself financially. Because
mhm.
I've had no break in the rebuilding process.
Oh, okay. Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, I've had help. My family has come and has given to me. So that's a big part. That's been very helpful. But you can only take so much help, right?
Yeah.
You still have to um, keep building. And so I find that sometimes, I wish that there was that pocket of time where me and my kids were with the family and I just got to rebuild because it's taken me a lot longer, I feel, to really
Mhm.
get where I want to be. So I just want to express that because I love that you had your family to help in that way. Because I'm sure even though it was difficult still to have to rely on your family. Oh, and I know what that feels like to have to be humble enough to take help and
Mhm.
let your
You hear
family
that "I told you so's" and
those things. Like, ooh, that's not easy. That is not easy. So anyway, you got through that. You finished school. So that's when you became an accountant, I'm guessing.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
By this time, how old were your kids when you became an accountant?
Well, I became an accountant right out of college. I already had a job lined up in
Okay.
job, so I was an accountant before my first son was born.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
that's why I say I'm glad I finished college, had everything lined up.
Right. Okay.
Even while my husband was tripping out and doing his thing, I was still able to bring home an income,
That's good.
and care. But, I kind of fought through that whole very traditional upbringing, the man's the head. And, so I tried to give him that position and that place, even though he wasn't in a position to be in that place.
Yeah.
I was too young to really think through that process. Like, my husband is not in a position to be the head, so I have to be the head. And that would have
Yeah.
saved a little bit of heartache had I set some boundaries with my finances ahead of time, realizing the situation I was in. But I was always hoping on hope. You know what I mean? Love
Yeah.
will survive, love will overshadow all this. No,
No, the fairy
there
tale
was some
thinking.
maturity there. You know what I mean? That was some immaturity.
There's a
Uh,
lot of magical thinking. I think that happens to Christians, especially
mhm,
women that you
mhm.
just focus on the wife thing. I realize that. Like, ooh, that if this happens, then that should happen. There's a lot of magical thinking.
Yeah,
That's been very clear to me recently.
you're right.
Yeah. So coming through that, so you were already an accountant, and I'm thankful as the same. I also became a therapist, but while in my marriage. So it was good that I already had that going. I was working as a therapist. I had my business before we fell apart. So
Oh,
that
good.
was really good to have. So I am grateful for that. But you said you stayed with your family for a little bit, and I'm guessing you built your own practice, or what happened while you were with them?
I didn't build my own practice. I was still working. Matter of fact, I threw myself into my career. I mean,
Okay.
I moved up the ladder really quick because I worked hard. I was very diligent. I was excellent at what I did. So
Mm-hmm.
I was moving up from, this level accountant to this level to controller. You know what I mean? It
Okay.
required me to work a lot of hours, right?
Uh,
But my mother and my aunt, they raised my children. I mean,
oh, wow.
credit because to be honest, I don't remember a lot of toddler years and things because I was always at work.
Yeah.
When they got school age, then they were in after school program. So I
Yeah.
do what I had to do because it was my only income. And matter of fact, I didn't hesitate to get a second job sometimes. I was like a workaholic because
Wow.
it's determined to make work,
Mm.
determined to make it work. And
Wow.
and I had a Christian background. So if you asked me, I would say I trust God,
Yeah.
certainly. And I learned early on to pay my tithes. So I gave, right? But I was still depending on myself to make it happen. So I'll get a second job. I worked long hours,
Wow.
needed to do because I was determined to make it work. And
Wow.
sounds good, but
Yeah.
anytime there's a positive and a negative, the negative was I missed a lot of the
Yeah.
hours. with them.
Yeah.
I mean, I in their sleep. So
Yeah.
regret.
So do you think work was also your escape at times?
It was. I agree it was because I didn't have to think about responsibility of a single
Mhm.
woman. I
Yeah.
was, boss this and boss that. I was almost a different personality at work, I'm not
Mhm.
crazy, but you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
was a different person at work. I was the professional Melissa.
Mm.
I have to think about being single mom, lonely, sad, failed, I picked the wrong person. All those
Mhm.
things go through your mind when you're home alone, fighting
Mhm.
thoughts. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So,
Yeah. I can relate to the escape, is the desire to escape. And I just discovered yesterday in conversations with someone, this person has challenged my thinking a lot. And I realized in a lot of ways, my escape while I have my children, there are times I find myself just in my bedroom escaping. I'm either working though, or I'm really just wanting my time by myself, or I'm wanting to escape talking to a man, talking to somebody. I want to do something that's kind of escapes me from all the responsibilities I deal with, right? The hats I wear. And so, yeah, that's something I'm discovering,
Mhm.
and as you were talking about the work life, I think it was okay to have a season where you were focused on that, to just rebuild yourself. And so sometimes I feel like I need to take some time to get into that focus where I just focus just on me, and obviously still be a mom, but like get into the zone of just working and not be thinking, oh, what's the next date? Or,
Yeah. Right.
I feel like that's where I need to be next. But, still walking through it and trying to figure it out. But yeah, so you rebuilt. And so when did you decide to start dating again? What was that? What was happening with that?
Well, Suzette, I was still dating.
Oh, okay.
Even I was constant, and that's the sad part. I spend 60 hours at work. And then, this is when the new online dating has started, Yahoo and all the things and spaces and whatnot.
Yeah.
Meet someone. And I was find time on a Saturday evening or whenever to go out on a date.
Okay.
And it never worked out. You know what I mean? It was just one date, single date, maybe two or three. And I did a lot of online dating. I'm not kind of ashamed to say, but that's part of my life. That's part of my story, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's something to be ashamed for. That is actually where the people are now. I mean, sometimes you see the same people. That's like now, it's like going to a bar or going to a place, just any place to meet somebody.
Right.
Is
Right.
that another place to meet somebody?
Right. And it's not so much date online is the issue. That's where I met my current husband, and I'm so
Okay.
met him
Okay.
online. But how much I did it, I was still seeking that validation. So if it wasn't him, let me find somebody else. I
Uh,
really benefited from some therapy, some counseling. I didn't need to seek that happiness and that fulfillment from a,
right.
I needed to become whole and heal first.
First, yes.
But I didn't allow that. I got to feel this loneliness, even if it's temporary, even if it's just a week or two or a date. You know what I mean? So I really lent myself to too many relationships. Does
I
that
hear
make
you. And that is the thing I'm trying to avoid. I think I've had enough so far. Honestly, I'm up to here.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh, I've had enough. And I feel like this is why the relationship with myself. And I feel like I've been doing that. I've been walking through it. I'm still in the journey of healing because I have in therapy. I've gone through the divorce care. I mean, I speak with the pastors at Deeper Church. I have that community. There's a lot of good things I have in place. However, sometimes the responsibility of wanting to heal can also become an added stress, or the responsibility of having to do things correctly, and how am I dating, all those things are driving me nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine. I remember.
Well, sometimes, just like, God, you just do with me what you're doing. I'm tired of the process. The process can be difficult. So I can relate to where you are when you said, you were looking in relationships for that
Mhm.
fulfillment. So what happened after you decided, maybe I not do it that way anymore? What did you do differently?
Well, let me tell you, I was a single mom for 17 years. So that's
Yeah.
a long period of time and dating in and out. Some relationships lasted a year or so, no more than a year or so,
Mhm.
and a lot of one hit wonders kind of thing. But
Yeah.
I ended up having my last son, my last biological son outside of marriage.
Hmm.
It was a whole nother scenario to deal with in church and all that, you messing up. But you know what? I made up my mind when I had them. I asked for forgiveness. There's no condemnation in Christ. God forgive me. I was being restored.
Hmm.
I decided this was going to be different. I was going to be take more active
So,
role in his life.
yeah.
I was already at a good level in my career, and thank God I was at a place where I had some flexibility. My job loved me, so they even allowed me to bring my son to work sometimes, or I
That's
work.
awesome.
And, but I was real active in him because I made up my mind I'm going to be different. I've
Yeah.
grown from when I
Yeah.
was 33 and had my first child. Now I'm 33, 34,
Wow.
having my child. And I changed my mindset, Suzette. There was a lot of growth going on where it had to be how I thought of myself and how
Yeah.
I thought about my finances and
Mm-hmm.
what I could do. You know what I mean? Now, by the time I had my son, the latest one, I had already owned 2 houses, right? But let me go back a little bit, probably 4 years prior when I bought my first home,
Mm-hmm.
praying to God, and this is in my book. I was praying to God, why can't I get, nothing's working out. I'm working on my credit because my credit was a little, iffy. Like, well, I was venting to God. I was crying and I was complaining, and I'm a single mom and it's not fair. And he left me and women, all this stuff. And I tell you, I audibly heard, and can't no one, tell me different. I audibly heard God say, shut up.
Wow.
Because I was in my home, my apartment at this time alone. And I know it was him, the Holy Spirit, right? I know it was. And I heard it audibly, shut up. And I'm like, what, God, like that? Is that how you're talking to me? And
Yeah.
it was because he was telling me, what I have for you is for you. Stop trying to do it on your own. You have to rest in me and allow me to do it. It doesn't matter that you're single. It doesn't matter that you have 2 children, credit score, all those things. Now, practically those things do matter. But what he was trying to tell me is hush your mouth. You're doing too much talking and complaining, right? And not listening. And that
Yeah.
changed my life. It changed
Wow.
my how I thought and how I began to trust. And I tell you, it was only about 4 months later that I bought my first home by myself, had my children in a home. God
Mhm.
changed my life, but he had to tell me, stop it, stop it. And I had to renew my thinking, So my life from that point on had a lot to do with mindset.
Yeah. Wow. I'm with you there. I feel like I'm probably just there.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Um, I have no choice but to just depend on God totally.
Yes.
That's who's gonna do the thing to make things come, happen for me.
Hmm.
And I have to really be obedient to his word and to what he's telling me to do in this season. But
Yes.
when like getting caught up on thinking, oh, but what if I'm just not doing it his way? And it's like that can also be burdensome.
For thinking.
Yeah,
Hmm.
overthinking. Overthinking is definitely something I've been struggling with. So it's awesome though that you listen to the voice of God. You got your another home, so you are doing well for yourself, and that sounds like you definitely worked hard enough that you had sustainability when it comes to your financial life with your children.
Yes.
Um, and so when did things turn? When did you meet your now husband, or when did that happen? After you got settled in your new home again with the kids, all that.
It was probably a good 10 or 11 years. It's still more of singlehood, and
Some
dating.
dating.
But it was when, Suzette, it was when I told myself, okay, enough is enough. Um, Father, I'm really going to listen to you. I'm tired of putting these square pegs in round holes saying, is he my husband? Is he? I'm going to make him my husband. And then I started thinking for a while there, like business. Okay, if he brings his money, I bring them, we can do this. Instead of a love commitment, I'm trying to make a business transaction. You know what I mean? That's how desperate I was getting because I was made to be married. Remember, I told you that from a kid. So I'm
I've
like,
been
this
saying
is
that
taking
myself.
too long. It's taking too long. So I was trying to do it. So it was when I said to myself and said to God, I'm done doing it. The next person has to be one you bring.
Yeah.
It seems like, Suzette, I went online. I won't say the website because I'm not giving them kudos, but I went online to take my profile off because I was done.
Yeah, that's where I am.
I saw that my current husband had visited my page or whatever, but he couldn't send me a message because I had a block saying no one over this age can talk to me.
Oh,
And I,
wow.
and I got a little like, so I sent him a message, this would be my last message. And
Wow.
I'm, oh, so you can't speak? And he said, I tried. You have me blocked. And that was all she wrote from there. I met him, met in person, and 28 days later, he proposed to me. 28 days.
Wow. 28 days.
And let me tell you, I know we fantasize on things, but it really was a Cinderella story. And
That's
I'm going to
wonderful.
apologize for that. I used to kind of hold that in. Anybody wants to hear that? But no, that's my life. It was a Cinderella story for me.
Wow.
Mm.
And so something clicked and you knew you were aligned.
Yes, absolutely. I knew he was an answer to prayer, and I'm not saying he's perfect because I'm not perfect, but I knew how he was responding to me, how he answered my questions, his thought pattern, his interest in my spirituality, his interest in relationship with God. All that seemed to line up.
Yeah.
And I prayed about him because I
Yeah.
wasn't going to make another,
Oops.
big mistake.
Yeah. Yeah.
And God gave me the peace. And
Yeah.
30 days into our engagement, because we were only engaged 60 days, 30 days, halfway through our engagement, I kind of freaked out. Like, here I am, this practical, very systematic woman, right? Well, I'm making this impulsive decision. What in the world am I doing? And I
Yeah.
kind of freaked out, was crying to my sister, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? This is crazy. He could be crazy. I don't know him and all this stuff. And then she was trying to comfort me. And then I called one of my best friends, which I call a sister. And I said, I'm scared. And she says, it's okay to be scared. Love is scary sometimes. But she goes, let me ask you, what is your spirit saying? And I said, And I
Yeah.
said,
Especially when you find the one that you feel yeah, it's just so good. Like it is so, is this
too good to
real?
be
Like,
true. Yeah.
yeah.
And it's all going to implode. It's all going to, you already thinking ahead because I would do that. I would overthink and I play the whole movie in my head and it's falling apart. But she said, what does your spirit say? And I said, my spirit's at peace. And she goes, woman, so what? It's been 30 days. So what? What does your spirit say? I immediately rested in it. And we got married 30 days later.
Wow. That that is powerful. That is truly powerful.
Yeah.
I love that. That to me that it does explain a lot. So I'm just as you're talking, a lot of things you've said, even in that last moment. I know you're in my small group, so you've seen how I was when we met the last time. How I am nervous about the little things that feel right because I'm like, God, this don't make no sense.
It don't make
But
no
yet I
sense.
don't know. I'm still in that nervous space. So yeah, I'm just like, Lord, I guess I'm just gonna leave it all over to you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave it all over to you, and that's all I have to do. You're helping me right now, Melissa. You're helping me right now. So just to become a little more practical, we already dove into how you met your now husband, and how long have you guys been married now?
6.5 years.
That's so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you.
And congratulations. I'm so happy for you. So
Thank you.
what tips would you, if you can think of anything right now, how would you encourage a single woman, a single mom, having to give up a marriage? And she's like, no, the first step, especially financially, what to do with herself. And she's raising kids. If there's anything that you feel like would minister to someone from your own experience,
Right.
feel free to do so.
Well, I know you're asking about practically with finances, but I think first and foremost, you have to forgive yourself.
Mm,
So for whatever part you played in that marriage not working. Because
yeah.
it's two parts, right?
Mm,
And then you have to not only release that to God, accept the forgiveness, enter a place of restoration and let Him build. Because in order to get your finances in track, your mindset has to be to a point where you say, I deserve this.
yeah.
Because some young women, single mothers, because of their history, because of their families, they've learned and what they've seen, they don't think they deserve to have enough and then more than enough.
Yeah.
You feel marginalized because they're a single mom, right?
Yeah.
Because they're a woman of color, right? Or because their parents never had anything, so they don't think they should have anything. There's something called a poverty mindset.
Yeah.
What we have to break. There's actually a spirit of poverty, I believe, and the Bible
I
talks about it.
agree.
You have to break that to know I'm more than enough. I am worthy. When
Yes.
God says that I'm beautifully and wonderfully made, he was talking about me. When God says I can have all my needs met according to his riches and glory, he's talking about me. He didn't say only married women with good husbands. No. He says anybody who trusts him, who obeys his will financially and otherwise, he shall do all of these things. They're principles in the
Yeah.
Bible. And because they're principles, that means he honors his own word,
Yeah.
right? So if you the principle will work for you. But it
Yeah.
starts with the mind. So I encourage all young women who don't have children, just young, and single mothers, married women, right? Change your mindset on how you see yourself, first of all,
Yeah.
worthiness, and then how your relationship with money. You got to change your relationship with money.
Yeah.
Your money. Don't let your money work you.
Yes.
And also change how you see. Some people think I need to be rich. I need lots of money. You don't need lots of money. Now, the Bible says money answers all things. It does. You can pay your bills. It's very practical. But what you need is access. You need access to who gives you favor. You need access to the one who blesses you with money. It's not about a pile of money. As long as I have access to the one who can give me that, that's all I need. And that
Yeah.
makes you well. Access makes you wealthy, not a
Amen.
pile of in the bank. Because I may only have $10 to my name in the bank, but that doesn't change how wealthy I am in
Yeah.
Christ.
I love that. Oh,
Yeah.
that was a really powerful mouthful that you just shared with us. Just the principles when it comes to money, not just fluff, because it's easy to say, do this, do that, and
Mhm.
make sure you have this credit card or don't have credit cards. Like that's a whole lot of different tips out there that are practical, and of course, we should tap into those resources. But
Yeah.
what you just said is so important. I love that you talked about the mindset around poverty. That poverty mindset that exists. I actually
Mhm.
had a client that she was striving to gain that abundance mindset,
Ah,
and it was really nice to walk with her through that and to see some things that and how we can talk about money and how we even expect for us what we expect for ourselves. Really, it has to do a lot with our mindsets and how we achieve. So
absolutely.
yeah, I think it's so important for me to always remind myself, yeah, because I didn't come from wealthy upbringing, but we were wealthy in just the way we were with each other. We lived with each other. We were happy. you
That
know,
matters.
that
That
really does matter.
your perspective on life, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your children, all that will reflect in how you handle your life,
Yeah,
including financially, how you
yeah.
make your decisions. It's all filled by principles. And
Mhm.
uh, I have a book called Go Figure.
Oh yes, please mention that. I wanted to
Yeah.
mention it.
And it says, let's keep it practical. And I talk about 6 financial tools and I get very practical. You mentioned, practical things. I talk about credit cards.
Yeah,
I talk about saving, right? But the first principle is be principled. Have some principles about yourself, right?
yeah,
Have a purpose. Learn how to give. Learn how to be a steward,
yeah,
right? And I talk about not mishandling your fruit. Now, these are kind of spiritual concepts.
yeah,
They relate practically, right? Because
yeah,
he created us to live here in the natural. So he gave us tools to live naturally, but they're always spiritual concepts, first spiritual, then natural, right? But I talk about how putting these spiritual concepts to work practically, right?
yeah. That's powerful. I definitely, I've had it in my Amazon cart and we've had such busy days. I have not even gotten it, but I really want to get that because I think it's going to be so helpful for me. And I think the viewers should get it. So I'm definitely going to write it in the description area for them to, and
Thank
put a link there for them to purchase it. I think that would be amazing. Go figure.
Go figure.
That. I mean, what inspired you to write it? And I think, how long ago did you write the book?
I wrote it in 2023,
Uh-huh.
and it was out and published just in time for International Women's Month. It
Oh,
was because it's written to women, but there's practical tools for everybody,
oh,
obviously, right? But I wrote it. What inspired me was I was a single mom for 17 years, and I
yeah.
went through my own financial ups and downs, complaining to God. But I learned lessons that someone else doesn't have to learn if I just tell you
Yeah.
how. Now, you're going to go through your own life.
Yes.
I can give you some hints, some tools to help you not have to repeat mistakes. Because
Yeah.
the world, it's all about money. It's all about capitalism. Banks
Yeah.
are looking to make money off of you. And some of them, I'll use some harsh words in here. They're taking advantage. We know another word for that. But when
Yeah.
we're taking advantage sexually, there's a word for that. That's what they're doing to you financially because they're looking to make money. So there's some tools and reminders I talk about in here. Don't let anyone take it. You wouldn't let someone take advantage of you physically, sexually. Don't let them take advantage of you financially either. So if I
Yeah.
can give you hints and tools how to recognize those schemes and weapons being formed against you, I want to do that. Why not help?
Wow. That that sounds so amazing, and I'm impressed with that. I certainly agree with you. It's just I think it was yesterday or a couple of days ago. I was thinking, on. Should I stay with my bank? Should I be doing something different? Like I'm thinking these things in my mind. I'm
Mhm.
losing money here and there. And it's like, is it worth it? I'm really thinking about, am I going about my financial life the best way? And
Mhm.
so I know that is something that I will definitely grab hold of. And so I definitely need to get that book. And I'm encouraging you to get her book. I know it will help you. I really trust the words that you've written in that book, and I'm excited to put my hands on it. Um, I'm going to be implementing that in my own life because it's so aligned with where I am and what I've been thinking about. So I'm excited to do that. Melissa, you've been such a gem.
Thank you. This has been a pleasure.
Yes, I love your story. Thank you for just being able to be candid and share so lovingly how the Lord has brought you through. He brought you through a marriage that was very broken with a man that was addicted to drugs. I can't even imagine that or fathom it. And then you had to go through so many years of just the ups and downs of singleness, um, and just learning what God wanted for your life. And I think the journey definitely hasn't been wasted. It's exactly how God wanted you to learn. And so you met your husband at the right time.
Yes. You
Yeah.
it's funny you say that because I'm like, Lord, how come I didn't get to meet him years ago so I can have 30 years with him? And Lord willing, I'm only 52. I still have 20 plus years with him, but
Yeah.
still God had to remind me I met him in the time of the life where I can best receive him.
Yeah.
Right. And he could best receive me. Because if I had met him 20 years ago, he might not have been the person he is now. Right.
That part.
And we may not be, working as well as we work together. It's
Yeah.
because we met each other when we met. And it's because we both submitted to God to
Yeah.
find each other. So,
Yeah. And in my mind, when you talk about years, sometimes even that will get me like, Lord, I don't feel like I got that many years to wait. Like, come on now. I'm in my 40s.
yeah.
I'm like, that doesn't sit well with me. But at the same time, I can't rush God. I can't tell him what to do. He is God. At the end of the day, because I feel like, man, I lost a lot of years staying in a space
Mhm.
that wasn't a healthy space. But I'm grateful that for even the opportunity to be in a space where I can wait for him and see what he's gonna do.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's a blessing, and I take that, and I'm thankful. Not to say I'm always in this space of positivity, but I'm embracing what I'm thinking right now, and hopeful that the Lord is going to sustain me.
Yes. You
Thank
said
you.
the right thing, Suzette. You said the right
Yeah,
thing. Being thankful, and again, that's perspective. Change your
yeah,
perspective. Being thankful that you're in a position to wait on God, healthy, right? You're healthy and you're
yeah.
thinking becoming healthy if it isn't. Because when I think about it, I could have got strung out on drugs with him, trying to
Mm.
I thank
Wow.
God he was on the crack cocaine. And from what I understand and from what I see, once you start that, you can be very bad really quick.
Yeah.
I thank God I didn't. I could be a whole nother person.
Yeah.
I maybe not be here right now. So you know what? I had to wait 17 years and some of that time I delayed it because I was being disobedient. But I thank God I had those years because it could have been something else. You know what I mean? So our perspective has to say, you know what? Thank God. Thank God.
Thank
This is where I
God.
want to be. Thank God I'm here.
Yeah. Thank God that even in my disobedience, His grace has
Oh,
been sufficient.
absolutely. That's it. His
Yeah.
grace is insufficient. His mercy is brand new every
Every day. Mm.
morning.
Wow. Thank you so much, Melissa. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you for your wonderful words of wisdom to us today.
Thank you.
So there you have it, guys. It was a lovely time with Melissa. We stayed talking for a longer time. I felt like she was a safe space for me to express some of my own journey. And I'm so grateful that she took the time to be here with us today. So many good spiritual nuggets as well as practical nuggets. And I hope you will go and get her book. It's on Amazon and it's called Go Figure by Melissa Cranon. So go get that book. I think it will be very helpful to you. I'm not going to spend much time here. You've heard enough today. And I just hope that you continue to strive after your goals, keep building, and trust the Lord to help you through it and stay married to His will. God bless you.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode of Married to His Will. Whether you're in a season of clarity or confusion, joy or surrender, I want to remind you choosing to align with His will isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. Every step of obedience, every moment of trust is shaping you for something greater than you can imagine. Thank you for letting me be a part of your journey today. If this episode spoke to your heart, take a moment to share it with someone who might need the reminder they're not walking alone. Until next time, keep leaning in, keep showing up, and keep saying yes to the journey, even when it doesn't make sense. Because when you're married to His will, you're anchored in something eternal. Stay faithful, stay expectant, and I'll see you next time.